Good evening, everybody. It's Monday, and you know what that means. It's time for the Fans Forum. And as always, we're going to review everything that's gone on in the world of Newcastle United in the past week. And as always, I've got the main man with me tonight, Chris Hall. How you doing, Chris?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. Recovered now. Ralph's Lane. And you know what? There's no better place to start than the fantastic Christmas party, the NUFC Matters party. Uh, it was a fantastic evening. Great show. Everyone played their part. Raised money for the NUFC Food Bank. Raised a lot of money, I should say. And it was just great to meet everyone finally. Myself and you had already met, Chris, but it was great to meet the likes of Richie, Nath, Steve again, John Justice Allen. What a legend!
Yeah,
Great
top
guy,
bloke.
absolutely top guy. And then we've got a few in the chat tonight that are going to join us. They're already ready and waiting. That we had the pleasure of meeting. But I have to say, special mention to the guys that are in the chat, the guys and girls that are in the chat tonight. Lots and lots that support this show and support us, Chris. And you know what? I'm sure you'll agree that it was an absolute pleasure to meet them and spend a little bit of time to actually put some faces to the names and have a great chat with them.
Yeah, no, absolutely, Pete. That was it. I mean, one of the highlights for me was meeting Julie. So obviously Julie's followed
Yes,
us on this journey on NUFC Matters, also on Loaded. So it was lovely to meet Julie and her partner. So that was really nice. And yeah, just loads of faces. Obviously, I met Dave Harrison, which was lovely. I saw Jeff.
yeah.
It was really nice just to catch up with everyone, and a few people came up to me and said that they love Loaded, they loved NUFC Matters, and they watched us religiously, and it's just so nice, isn't it? And obviously to meet up with the regulars, the panel members, that's also good as well. I mean, we've met, haven't we, Pete, on aways and stuff, but to finally meet Richie face to face was great. And I
Get
believe
the band together.
we're already planning for next year, aren't we? Hopefully all of the Loaded lads meeting up, so that'd be great. And a special shout out to Bronwyn as well.
Definitely.
So obviously we met Bronwyn for the first time, and that was really nice. Lovely girl and a father. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was really nice as well.
Yeah, absolutely spot on. And obviously, Supermac and Gibbo had a talk in as well, which was fantastic. Junior Turner performed.
Yes.
I have to say, unfortunately, I missed that because I was travelling up from Leicester. So I heard it was fantastic.
Oh, it was great. Really good.
And I did say, apologies in advance if I got a little bit tipsy. I was a little bit tipsy on that night, I have to say. It was the enjoyment, it was the party. And yeah, the plans on Saturday did not go to plan. I ended up waking up midday after a long night out. Well worth it in the end, and then off to St James's Park. So, look, a great weekend in all. Fantastic to meet everybody, and I'm sure we'll get onto that in a second. However, to start the show, Chris, I think you've got some questions that have been asked or been asked to be shared at the start of the show. So if you want to fire away.
Yeah, so a gentleman called Lee Girdleston reached out. Really nice to chat to him. So he sent me a DM, which was really nice, and we were having a bit of a to and fro, a bit of a gab. But he asked whether I could ask a question of yourself, Pete, and obviously for me to answer too. And it's an interesting question actually. I've been racking my brains trying to think about it, but it's a difficult one to answer. So I'll be interested to hear your thoughts. So the question that Lee wanted us to ask was, if you put every Newcastle manager and their squad under the Ashley era into a league, who do you think would win the league, and who would be in the bottom three?
Ooh. So is it what every
Newcastle manager and their squad under the Ashley era into a league? So I think he's saying Keegan's best team, and then you look at McLaren's best team and Pardew's best team, and
is it under the Ashley era only, or is it under the Newcastle?
Saying that, no, sorry, yeah, he said under the Ashley era.
Okay.
So that would, I suppose, how many managers has there been under Ashley? Is it 5 or 6?
Yeah, I
Or has there
think
been?
so.
Yeah, something like that,
Newton,
isn't it?
Shearer, well, there's been a few that have been short term, but
Yeah,
under the
yeah.
same sort of squad. Interesting one. Uh, if I'm going to go with any, just off the top of my head, so it's the manager and the squad together, right?
Yeah,
I'm assuming
yeah.
that's right. It's got to be Steve Bruce, surely. It's got to be Steve Bruce.
As
Steve
in,
Bruce.
top of the league.
Oh no, I'm on about the bottom three. I'm
I
on
was
about the
panicking there, Pete. I was thinking,
bottom
oh God.
three. No.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know what? Top of the league, I would go with Alan
Pardew.
Pardew's team.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Had to be
uh,
I was thinking the same,
yeah.
Pete. That front three for Pardew of Bar, Cisse, and Ben Arthur, and then with Cabaye and Tiote holding the midfield, it was just unreal. And even the defence was half decent, wasn't it? You know, we had Colaccini, Enrique. I think it would have been Williamson next to Colaccini.
The only interesting
Bushi.
thing about that one is that there was a bit of a transitional squad actually, because obviously some players moved on, some players came in, but at one point, obviously Demba Ba left, and we ended up getting Laurent Remy. So, you know, who fits into that forward line? Because you've got Ben Arthur. The main forward line that got us fifth was Ben Arthur, Papi Cisse, and Demba Ba. But obviously, Demba Ba left. Laurent Remy came, and Laurent Remy was a talented boy in himself.
Yeah.
So you got like 4 players to play within that front three. So yeah, it's a really interesting one. But yeah, definitely Pardew top for me. Rafa Benitez's team that in his last season, in his last season just before he left the club, that team, particularly that back end of the season, the football we were playing was top level. I think we were in the top 6 form wise in the league going into the last part of the season.
Yeah.
So for me, that team would be second. In terms of, you probably got Houghton maybe third, with the likes of Carroll, Barton, Noland. Those guys were potent at times.
That was a great squad in the Championship, wasn't it, Pete? It was a great squad.
And then into the Premier League, obviously the season we won 5-1 against Sunderland. We won some games, and we were, he was still very harshly sacked. We were on some great form at that point. For me, Steve McLaren, rock bottom. Not to say we didn't have good players; we had some decent players, but he was just an awful manager. So between him and Bruce fighting out for Battle of the Craps at the bottom of the league, 100%, in my opinion. Have you got anyone else maybe that differs from that?
I don't think so. No, I think you've summed it up well, Pete. I mean, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because you look back and, like you say, we had some really good players. Do you know what? We maybe one day we'll have to do a special on it, like a show, and say, like, who are Ashley era 11 would be, and who our Ashley era manager would be, and maybe just separate it and put them down like that, because you do look at that, the Houghton days, and when we went up, that squad, that was a real unit that we had. I mean, if you'd have gone in that changing room, now we talk about not having any leaders. We had leaders coming out of our ears in that squad. You had Barton, you had Nolan, you had Butt, you had Smith, you had Carroll, even though he was a young lad, he was very much part of the part of the leaders of the group. You had Harper, Colaccini. There was just loads of players, and if we'd have gone down with with a far weaker squad, we'd have struggled. But Houghton did a really good job, and then it was that January, wasn't it, when we came up? Carroll made a fantastic start to the season, then he went to Liverpool.
Yeah.
So
10
and then
10 or 11 Premier League goals he had in that first half of the season. He was flying, and then he got snapped away.
Scored that great goal, didn't he, at St James's against Liverpool? The one where it was like 35 yards or something, and Pepe Dano had no chance.
Pardew's first game, that was. Pardew's first game.
Yeah, it was. I was there. I remember because Kevin Nolan done his chicken dance in front of me, because I think he equalised. I think we were 1-0 down. He equalised, and he equalised right in front of me. Yeah. Class, mate. So good. Good memories. But yeah, when Pardew won, I think, because we were all gutted, weren't we, when Pardew come in, because he'd kind of been on like the managerial scrap heap. after I think he'd been at Charlton. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we got Pardew, and everyone was like, "What's going on?"
Yeah. Well, I think
Or was it? Yeah, was it Southampton before that?
It was Southampton before, then I think it was Charlton. But what I loved about that game was that Barton comes out. It is like that was for Houghton, or like that was for the previous manager.
Yeah.
Pardew whatsoever. He just completely like shot on that straight away.
He did. Yeah, I remember that now. Yeah.
I loved a bit of shithouse Barton. I got to be honest, at Newcastle, couldn't beat it. But no, good question. Good question.
Very good question. And we've had another good question here as well, Pete, from Sutty79. So we've got 26, and this is obviously going to be the topic of conversation today, I'm sure.
Yeah.
We have 26 games remaining, and we have 6 points. Even if we were to win, say, 10 of those games, that would take us to 36 points, just short of the 40 mark. Do you think that's achievable? So 10 games out of the 26.
Do I think it's achievable? Yes. Do I think we'll achieve it? Yes. There was a lot to be pleased about on Saturday, although I'm frustrated as hell that we didn't win the game. But that wasn't for the want of trying. No. It wasn't because the team played badly. I mean, look, when have we ever had 51 possession in a game?
Yeah,
and I'm talking like when we played like Oxford in the cup, we've surrendered possession. When have we had that type of possession, and not just had the possession, but actually used it and created chances? 23 chances on goal. I think
Brentford's are a good footballing side as well, Pete.
Yeah, and it was just pleasing to watch us use the ball as well as we did on Saturday. John Joe Shelvey was outstanding in midfield. I haven't spoke to a Newcastle fan that disagrees with that. He was outstanding. That was a Kabay-like performance. That's the best performance he's played for. Everyone talks about the first game that he played against West Ham, and he was fantastic in that game as well. That was his best game that he's played for Newcastle United since he's been at the club. He was unplayable at times with the way he used the ball. And not just his long range of passing, the way he just kept the ball nice and simple. I'm sure we're going to get onto Big Joe. That was a very, very, very special performance from him, and one that deserved 3 points. But just lots of pleasing things that came from that performance that says to me that, one, I think there's going to be some surprises. I think we're going to get points and win games against teams that on paper we're not expected to win. But I also think, exactly. But I also think the turnaround fixtures, I think we can go to teams like Southampton and win. I think we can go to teams like Villa and win. I think we can go and put up a fight against the likes of West Ham playing this way. I think the likes of Watford coming to us, I think we can turn them over. We've got games that, yes, we didn't play well in and get results from on the first round of fixtures so far. But I think on the turnaround fixtures, I think, and I'm talking with the current squad, I'm not even talking about the fact that we can improve the squad in January. I think after that, we can really kick on. So, I do believe, and I believe in the manager, I believe in the players. And I think as his fans just need to do exactly what we did on Saturday, in that even when we were 3-2 down, we just backed the boys 100%. We got behind them, we encouraged them. There was hardly any boos or like jeers or anything like that. And the lads need that support. And thankfully, Maxi came up with the equaliser.
Yeah, and ironically, Pete, just to touch on Maxi, I was a little bit disappointed with Maxi at the weekend. I mean, obviously he took his goal really well, especially first half, and I think Richie mentioned it on the show last night with Loaded, didn't he? He was really he looked really fed up to me, or frustrated, should I say, because he, things weren't panning out, and he you see him throwing his arms in the air. And I've noticed over the past few weeks that he's, even when things go wrong, he kind of, claps and cheers and says, nice one, try again kind of thing. But he looked frustrated to me at the weekend. But second half, he did improve. And the thing with St. Maximin is it just takes one little bit of skill, doesn't it? And he's away. On the counter, he's just deadly. I mean, that ball from Fraser over the top was just unreal. And then the finish. I mean, nobody talks about Maxi's finish. It's more maybe about the somersault or Fraser's cross. But when you watch it in slow-mo, he's connected with it perfectly. And he could have quite easily scarred that. Quite easily. It was a difficult finish. And he left the keeper with no chance. Really, really good.
Difficult technique. And it was a very good finish. But I'm inclined to agree with you, Chris. There was a lot of people saying, "Oh, Maxi was amazing. He was like close to man of the match." I didn't see that. I think he was probably only in first or second gear the way he played on Saturday. I think there was at least a couple more gears in his locker on Saturday. I thought he was a threat, but I thought again his decision making at times wasn't great. There was a couple of times where he was running in the first half at players, and Richie was making some good runs overlapping, and Richie wasn't getting the ball. There was players trying to get in the box, and Richie was frustrated. He was just trying, and this is not a swipe on. It's a Maximin. He was trying too hard.
Yeah.
He's so desperate to do things well that he was actually just keeping hold of the ball for too long. In the second half, he was better because he was using the ball and he was releasing it better. And his goal was exactly that, where he could have just carried on running, but instead actually switched the ball, then made his run into the box. Great balling, like you said, from Fraser, and he finished it. I think there's levels to St. Maximin, and I think he'll only get better. So I don't even think that was one of his, like, it was a great game for him, but that just shows the ability that he's got as a player.
Yeah, and I know I'm conscious we've got loads of guests in the chat, so I'll keep it brief, Pete. But we've got to speak about Joe Linton. Like that first half, mate, he was everywhere. And then did you see they've even created a GIF, haven't they, out of that little bit of skill he's done, where he like dragged it with his left, went with his right, and both players were just gone. I mean, he was just everywhere. The effort, the endeavour. He was, trying his best. And I tell you what, again, to say it, that was a great finish with his left foot. Really good finish. When you look at the power he puts behind it in the bottom corner, if he hadn't put that much power on it, the keeper may have got it. But it was the precision and the strike itself was such a good finish. So yeah, I'm really really pleased with him. You could see the frustration. You could see all the pent up anger when he scored because he was absolutely going for it when he scored, and he really deserved it. I thought he did really really well. Tired a little bit in the second half, but listen, you already touched on it at the start, Pete. Like, yeah, it's a point we could have done with 3 points, obviously, but going forwards, we look far more of a threat. We've had the highest possession we've had in as long as I can remember. Obviously, there's a couple of issues defensively. My only big criticism was that every time Brentford went forwards, I thought we looked shaky, if I'm honest. But it's going to come with time, isn't it? And let's not forget, and I think it did play an impact, Eddie Howe wasn't on the bench, obviously due to COVID. I think that's probably played its part. He's only worked with the players for 10, 11 days. And already you can see such a big improvement. And that's why I share your confidence, Pete, when we're saying about, is it achievable to get 30 points between now and the end of the season? I think absolutely it is. Absolutely. And we will pick up points from teams who aren't quite at it, or they're missing a couple of players, and we'll pick up some shock results. I'm almost certain of it.
I agree. We have to remember the one thing that was noticeable is obviously because we were more front foot, we're actually playing as a unit higher up the pitch, and that's something that our backline are not used to. Our backline are used to sitting on the 18-yard box of our own box and just defending deep. So to be asked to then play another 20 yards further up the pitch, there at times they were worried, and it was kind of like they were hesitant. They didn't know whether to go to the ball as a unit or back off. At times, they managed to get that nailed down a little bit better in the second half. But again, it all comes with time. It all comes with practice. You're right that we look shaky. A lot of it was very clear to see that Brentford aimed to get down our left-hand side. With Clark is the left-hand centre back, and there's Richie that's not a defensive wing back, and they got in time and time again down there, because Clark would commit and go to the ball, which would leave loads of space in behind him, and Lascelles and Shaw would be left to pick up the pieces, and that made them look bad. But actually, it was because Clark kept coming out and breaking the line of three. Which as a defender you just don't do, and he did it. He started to do it a little bit towards the end of the second half, and we were a little bit worried that we were going to get caught on the back of it. So for me, Clark was the worst of the three. He needs to get out of the team ASAP. I'm not going to go into dialogue because I think other people will do that anyway. But yeah, there's areas to improve on, but it wasn't the worst performance in the world.
Yeah, no, Darren, I've just read that comment there. Darren Drinkell saying it's been 8 managers under Ashley. I mean, obviously, I know we probably wouldn't count JFK, and maybe the Shearer era was very, very short as well, wasn't it? So that's probably the 2 we were missing. But yeah, I didn't realise it was 8. 8 in what? Just over 14 years, 15 years.
Yeah,
tells its own story, really, doesn't it?
Definitely. But right, we'll get to the guests. They've been waiting patiently in the back. So regular viewer, always a pleasure. Hopefully there's no echoes tonight, but let's welcome in Alan Thompson. How you doing?
Thanks a lot, Pete, Chris. A lot what you said, I agree with. I thought the performance on Saturday was really good. And I'll hold my hands up. I've said it on this show. Joe Linton is one of the worst players I've ever seen. But he was the man of the match on Saturday, guys. He was. Got to give the lad credit where it's due. He was. I've said it on numerous podcasts. I wouldn't sell him in a jumbo sale, but on Saturday, he was tremendous. And good luck, lad. I just hope it continues. I've been telling you, Pete, when I left the ground, I must admit I was deflated. I thought we should have won the game 3. And all during the weekend, I've been trying, was it a point gained or 2 points lost? And I've come to the conclusion it was a point gained because of the fact these were the same players that under Bruce. I don't know when we've had such attacking intent in a game. I know Bruce were won at Bournemouth 4-1 and Leicester 4-2, but it was counter-attack. That game on Saturday, we just went out for the win, and it was great to see. It was really, really great to see. So Shelby and Joe Linton, as you've already talked about, had really good games. I must admit, my heart sank when Darlow came on the pitch. And my mood didn't improve once that first goal went in, Pete. I had my head on my hands for 5 minutes saying that should have been saved. So I'm just wondering, I said on the podcast last night when I was in a really bad mood, why isn't Dubravka playing? Why isn't Lewis getting a game? Why isn't Fernandez getting a game? And I said on a comment, and Jeff answered it, why? Why aren't these guys playing? Are they not putting it in training? I know Lewis played the international break, but he was only playing in Northern Ireland, and apparently played well. So are they ever going to get a game? The setup, but what I would say is it's the same set of players, and under Bruce, I don't think we've ever played with such attacking intent as that. And if we are going to go down, I'd rather go down like that than mildly just go down with 1-0 defeats or 2-1 or not defending really badly. So basically, the 3-4-3 that he played was very attacking, and I cannot wait for January to come about. But he's got to keep these players confident till January. I did think Lascelles was poor as well, lads. I did think he was poor and slow. And like I say, the only thing about ACM, Chris, was he didn't dive on top of me because I'm further in the stand where he dived in. That's the only disappointing thing for me, else I would have dived on top of him when he scored the goal. It was a Keegan game, lads. It was back to Keegan days.
It was.
Back and forth. It could have went anyway. There's one bugbear I would say, lads. I go on different podcasts, and the Brentford podcast, I had a couple of Newcastle fans on, and they were saying ACM's too good for me. And I cringe, lads, when fans say players are too good for it. It's a defeatist thing for me, because do people say Ronaldo is too good for Man United? Do people say Gerrard was too good for Liverpool? No. What you're saying is you're a small club, and you're quite happy to finish 7th or 8th. When fans start saying players are too good for their club, they're belittling their club, in my eyes anyway. No player is too good for us, Pete, Chris. I hope we'll want to, with the new owners in the future, I hope we'll get the best players possible. Regarding the player, lads, about Brentford, we're shaky at the back, Chris, your point being, I think that's why we're linked with Harry Winks, I go on the Tottenham podcast and they would give him away free of charge because they don't rate him. So you're bearing that in mind. But when I saw the Leeds Tottenham game, I can see why Eddie Howe wants him, because he did one or two good splitting passes forward for Kane and Song. So I can see why Eddie Howe would be in favour of buying him. So that part of the game, I can see why he wants a defensive midfielder to go box to box to protect the defence as well as go forward to help because we are going to play on the front foot. And I agree with Chris Pete. I think we will get results going when we're not expected to. Hopefully it'll happen on Saturday. You never know. Because Everton aren't playing well, Chris. Leicester aren't playing well. And Man United aren't playing well. And 3 of the 5 clubs will play in December. I know it looks bad on paper, but 3 of them aren't playing. They're not pulling up any trees. So, there's hope there. There is hope there going forward. And I was down on Saturday and Sunday, I must admit. But Monday morning, I thought, no, I think it was a point gained. I really do. And Brentford, I think Brentford are a team that will get dragged into it, lads. I really do. Yeah. I think a few that they're suffering from injuries now, and I think they'll get more. And I think the way they play, I think they will be there or thereabouts with us. So I won't make the decision totally that we're down, although I did say it last night on another podcast where we were going down. I think it's all about January, lads. I really do. For everybody out there, I really think it's about how far we're adrift, how many players we can attract in January, and basically, if we're all going to attract them players, are they going to bed into the team quick enough for it to get out? I do think we can get out of it because I think over the last 5 or 6 years, it's only been 36, 37 points. Like Suki said, that it keep up actually. Yeah. The 40-point mark is just the magical marker that people think you get 40 points and you're safe. So I've still got hope on my side, to be fair, lads, that we can get out of it. And especially after Saturday. It was great. I really enjoyed the game. And just to let you know, that's great for everybody at the party on Friday, Pete. And you had a great time up in Newcastle. It was nice that you're all up, and maybe next year I might join you. So
definitely
see you up there.
Yeah,
but
that'd be nice, mate.
I'll leave with that because I know you've got a lot of people on the chat, Chris, Pete. But overall, happy, very happy. And we've just got to take the positives and forget about the negative. Eddie Howe can only work with what he's got, Pete.
Yeah.
And the players will know the defence isn't good enough. And I want 3 signings, Chris. I want a centre half, I want a midfield player, and I want a striker. And them 3, I preferably want 4 or 5, but if we get 3 in, or 4, really 4 possibly, a right back, because I worry about Richie and Murphy. They're getting caught out with the cross-field balls, lads. Have you noticed Brentford's second goal? Some people blame Darlow, but I blame Murphy. He was out of position, and it's been Richie in the past because other teams are working out that these lads don't think like defenders. They do not think. So they're out of position. If you remember, lads, Brighton, Murphy was at fault at the cross, and early in the second half, it could have quite easily been 2-0. And he was caught out ball watching. And that's what midfield wing backs do. They watch the ball and they don't defend properly. So I do, worry about why we're not playing Mankiw and Lewis at the back. End of, lads. But wish you as well. And going forward, keep our fingers crossed for Arsenal. We never play well there, lads. So as long as it's not a trouncing, if we're in the game and we're battle hard, I mean, Everton got beat off Man City. 2 of the goals were quality. Fair do. You just got to hold your hands up. If Arsenal scored quality goals, as long as it's not a first goal like Darlow in on Saturday, then I will cringe. And if we get beat 3 or 4-1, then I will fear for it. But rule on Norwich and Burnley. They're going to be the killer games, lads. Really are. Massive. Yeah. Absolutely massive.
Absolutely.
But I'll let you go, Chris, Pete. Sorry.
Mate.
But before you go, and we will kind of just dissect a few of the points that you've made, but you definitely deserve one of these.
Cheers, Pete. I wanted one of them. I'm sick of getting the applause. I wanted a goal.
Get in there. Good lad. Alan, always a pleasure. Never a chore.
Thank you.
Hopefully you'll come back on next Monday to talk maybe 3 points.
Yeah. I just don't want to bore you lads being on all the time when other lads want to be on.
Not at all.
That's all. Great
Alan.
points.
Thank you.
Man. You take care. We'll speak to you soon.
Will do.
Thank you, Alan.
Always great to talk to Alan.
He always comes out with great points, Sonny Pete.
Yeah.
Always.
Really, really does. And just to touch on his point towards the end, I think we can get something from Arsenal. Look, our record's not great there, granted, but if we play the way we do there, if I go back to the last few times that we've played Arsenal, like even when we've sat deep and then we've counter-attacked, we've actually caused them problems. And it's only really been because we've sat deep and deep and deep. Towards the end of the game, they end up breaking us down. But if we go out and really attack them, if you look at teams like Palace, for example, that went there and probably should have won that game, against Arsenal at the Emirates. You look at teams like Brighton. You look at other teams that have that in and around us that go to teams like Arsenal and attack them. Who's to say that the likes of Callum Wilson, Seth Maxey, and Joe Linton, and even Ryan Fraser can't make a difference there? Like, I don't think it's a dead set that they're going to win this game. And hopefully, it's not been confirmed yet that Eddie Howe is in the dugout. There's a chance that he can make the game on Saturday, and if he is, it's a great opportunity for us to pick up points again. So I don't think it's sort of dead in the water from that. But from Alan's points that he's raised, what do you think? Obviously, he's talked about the performances on Saturday. He's also talked about whether we can stay in the league. Are you in agreement with those two things, Chris?
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I think we can stay in the league. Yeah, the position's not great when you look at the table, but I saw plenty of positives at the weekend, and I just keep telling myself, as I said in the last comment, Pete, we're looking at the 10, 11 days training with Eddie Howe, and already you can see monumental changes. Yeah. We've got January around the corner. For me, I think we probably, wouldn't it be great to get to 20 points before January? I know that's probably asking a little bit too much, because I know that obviously the one in December is horrendous. But we've got the Arsenal game, like you say, coming up. No reason why we can't get something there. We've got Norwich, we've got Burnley, we've got the Leicester game, and as Alan, like you said, Leicester aren't playing very well at the moment. We've not done too badly at Goodison Park in the last few years. Obviously, we got a point last season, didn't we, when we were 2-0 down and we played absolutely atrocious. And I believe the season before that we beat them home and away. So you don't get me wrong. You look at the fixtures and you think, oh God. And let's not forget as well. Man United are now managerless. If they bring in the wrong guy, they've got a big dressing room there with big personalities. If they come up against a team like us who are well drilled, up for it, going for every ball, they've got a team, full of superstars. Will they want to get, dirty and get stuck in? Or, if you allow them to play, they probably will tear you apart. But Pete, you were there with me at Old Trafford, mate. I know we lost 4-1, but it was a good performance. We weren't that bad. And 4-1 definitely flattered them.
Yeah, we had chances in that game at Old Trafford.
We did.
And that was us sitting back and defending deep. I think, we're still thinking in that negative Bruce mode, in that we're just going to sit back and defend. That is not how Eddie Howe plays. Eddie Howe likes to get forward and create chances. Yes, it's going to mean that there's going to be chances at the other end, but it's also going to mean in games where, if we'd have played with the Eddie Howe style against the likes of Leeds, we could have probably won that game. If we'd have played with the Eddie Howe style against Southampton, we could have won that game. It opens up other games where we're a little bit unsure, where actually, if we play a more expansive type of football, it changes the mindset of the opposition. The opposition know us as a team that are going to sit deep, and it's just a case of we're going to have all this possession and we're going to break Newcastle down eventually. Now they're having to think differently because they don't know how we're going to play. They're going to think, right, do we need to think defensively now? Because Newcastle are going to attack us. St. Maximin's going to have more of the ball. Callum Wilson's going to have more chances. Ryan Fraser's going to create chances. Joe Linton, what's he going to do? John Joe Shelby, is he going to dictate the game? Now you're going into a game where it's not just a case of, they just sit back, we're going to break them down eventually. They're going to start to think, we need to put formations and tactics and things in place to stop Newcastle playing because they're going to come and attack us. So it opens up the game for it to be something very, very different. So it changes the mentality of the opposition that we're playing against. So it's going to be really, really interesting how that works out, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we saw, didn't we, the comments from Thomas Frank. He was very complimentary, wasn't he, of the way that we played, and you know, it was probably difficult for Brentford to come up against you know, this new team under Eddie Howe, because had that have been Bruce, I don't think it would have finished 3-3. I think it probably would have been more like 3-1 Brentford, if I'm honest. Or maybe we wouldn't have even scored. But you know, there was a lot of positives to take out of the game at the weekend, and I know we've got loads of guests waiting in the background. I'm sure they're going to talk about those positives. But yeah, I'm quietly confident that things will improve. And you know, with the fans in full voice as they were at the weekends, you know, every single week, the players now have, you know, new faith. I do think we're going to pick up points that perhaps we weren't expecting. And there's certainly an opportunity for us to stay up there because, as we both know, Pete, when you look at the teams around us, there's a couple of teams there that aren't very good. And as soon as they go on a little bit of a bad run, if you remember over the last couple of weeks, we've been a little bit unlucky with the results. There's been a couple of shock results. I mean, you know, looking at Watford against Man United, that certainly didn't help. But those run of performances can't last forever. Watford have got the new manager bounce with Claudio Ranieri. I fully expect us to have that same bounce. And then over the course of the next 26 games, who knows? You know, I would fancy our chances of picking up a good amount of points and giving ourselves at least a chance of staying up.
Yeah, I would agree with you 100%. Yeah, and I think, you know, Tom said it right. We just have to play Arsenal the way we played them in the cup game and give them a good game that day. And we did, and we were unlucky. We were lucky not to get some from that. I think, you know, Carroll missed a gilt-edged chance that could have won us the game before they scored the goal in extra time. That changes things. If they play anything like that, we've got a great chance of beating them, 100%. But we're going to go to our next caller because I know he's been waiting very, very patiently, and it's a pleasure to welcome in Dave Harrison. How are you, Dave?
Not bad, guys. How are you?
Not too bad. Not too
Good.
bad.
Great to meet you on Friday night. It's such a fantastic event. It was all the money that was raised. It was really good fun. And I have to say, wasn't Super Mac and Gibbo on form when they got on up the stage? They were absolutely amazing. I loved it. It was such a good night. Yeah. Fortunately, I had to go early because I couldn't get a taxi for any later. But so didn't get much chance to chat to you all. But we'll do it the next time. We'll have a longer chat the next time. And Chris was going to come to the food bank, but I understand from his comments earlier he was a tad worse for wear. Is that right, mate?
Do you know what? Dave? It wasn't me. I think it was more Pete. I did pop over. I did pop over the food bank very briefly. I saw Steve Hasty very briefly. You know, I walked past, so obviously I wanted to drop in a quick donation, and it was lovely to catch people out there. But I mustn't have seen you, Dave.
Yeah, I was floating a bit. I don't know whether you were around because Steve gave us the nod and he said we're expecting a special guest, and of course it was Jamie Rubin who turned up with his entourage. And I have to say, I met him. I was lucky enough to shake his hand and welcome him and say thank you for all you've done to the club and everything. And he said, "Don't be daft, thank you for allowing us to come into your club," which I thought was just such a lovely thing to say. And what an absolute star. I mean, what a lovely, lovely man. The funniest thing, though, he emptied his wallet into my bucket just because I happened to be stood there. And I'll not say how much he put in because obviously that would be rude. But he joked with Bill Cochran. He says, "Hang on," he says, am I doubling that? And Bill said, yes, you are. Thank you very much. So I can have some backlash. Just a lovely, lovely sense of humour. It was brilliant, you know. So, but anyway, to matters Newcastle. So, yeah. I have to agree with you guys. I've listened to you, and I think everything you've said so far is absolutely right. I must admit I panicked a bit when Eddie wasn't there, and I thought, oh yeah, we'll go. But at the end of the day, despite the fact our defence is not as good as it should be, I'll take 3-all. We scored, but I think as you both said earlier on, 52% or 51% possession, and I can't remember the last time we've had that amount of possession. Even under the days of Rafa, we didn't get that many. You've got to go back a long way. When was the last time you had 23 shots on target? That's got to be a long time ago. 23 shots rather than about, was it 7 or 8 on target? You know, and it was great. I think for the slightly disappointing thing for me was I thought Lascelles blew hot and cold most of the game, which is a shame. Hopefully Eddie Howe will get his confidence back, but I think I'd rather see others in there at the minute. Sadly disappointed at Sean Longstaff when he came. Sean, when he came on, he should have grabbed that chance with both hands just to show what he can do. Because let's face it, a couple of 3 seasons ago, he was our go-to player. He's lost so much now. Again, if Eddie can get that back, you know, I think that there's definitely a player in there. But I do worry with the lad. I'm not sure that he'll be able to get it all back the way he was a couple of years ago. I hope he can. And I was disappointed in Willock again. I think he looked a bit lost for great swathes of the game. Had some good passes, some good runs. But enough of the negatives. I think the positives are all there to see. Shelby, I thought, was a great game, as everybody else has said. Joe Linton, absolutely man of the match. Played really well. I mean, he had some good things. There was one bit down at the Lees's end when just in front of the East Stand, just near where I sit, he slipped and sort of went down. But by God, he got back up straight away and won the ball back, which I don't think he's done for a while. So whatever Eddie Howe's doing with him, long may it continue, I'm sure of it. I'm a positive about staying up. You know me, I'm a bit of a pessimist, but no, I think looking at what others have said, I mean, with 26 games left, do we need to, hi Rachel, do we need to win 10 of them? It depends on what the other teams around us do. And I think, as we've said, there is, hi Paul, sorry guys,
loving it, Dave, loving you, absolutely loving you, mate.
There's always 1 or 2 teams that nosedive in the last sort of 10 games. We saw that last year and the year before.
Yeah.
And I'm convinced that that'll happen again. I don't know who it'll be because you never quite tell. I think we might just about make it. I can't see us not. And I think the good thing is other people have said we've got January, you know, 2 or 3, possibly 4 good signings in the right place. I think we can save the season and then kick on in the summer and then next year. I'm beginning to believe that now. In Eddie, we trust, lads. I think that's what I'd like to say. So,
great points, Dave. As always, Chris. Obviously, thinking from Dave's point of view, we'll just stay up. I know you've had your opinion on staying up. Do you think it will be close, or do you think we'll stay up? You know, with a few games to spare in the end.
I'd like to think we would, but no, I do think it's going to be close. Obviously, you know, due to the start we've made, I think it is going to be close, Dave. But like yourself, in Eddie we trust. And I do believe, you know, that we can do it. I wanted to touch on one of your points you made, actually, Dave, and I don't think we mentioned it, you know, about Sean Longstaff. I completely agree. I was really disappointed when Sean come on. He was warming up right by where I was sat. And he really looked in the zone. He looked ready. He looked fit. And then when he came on, it was like it was like he was a couple of seconds behind everybody else. Misplaced passes, lost his footing a couple of times. You're absolutely right. It's he's not really put himself in the shop window, has he?
No,
I'm sure Eddie Howe, watching at home, will have seen that and thought,
yeah, absolutely. And I think he lost possession far too easily for me. It's something he never used to do. Once he had the ball, he would hang on to it. Yes, he would do a sideways or a backward pass more than you do a forward pass, or he would take the ball before he passed. He's not doing that at the minute, and I think, Eddie Howe's a good enough coach to realise what needs to be done with lads like him. And I honestly believe that, well, I say honestly, I hope, my hope is that he'll get him back to where he was a couple of years ago. I just hope he can, because I think, if only for young kids coming through the academy, it's always good to see Geordie lads succeeding in the team, and if they can't, they may drift away. We could lose some, we could lose another Shearer, but I just hope that they can get him back. So, but Julie, but yeah, I mean, I'm never 100% confident. I joke at times when, if we're 3 up with 4 minutes to go, I'll think, I might just scrape a draw here.
Typical Newcastle, isn't it, Dave?
Well, absolutely. Well, I mean, I've been going since 1974, first game in sort of 1969, 70, and I've seen some dross over the years, and I've seen some good stuff as well, but I've never seen we win anything of any note, So, and as I approach 70 this year, I just hope the hell I can hang around long enough to see we pick some silverware up. I would, as King would say, I'd love it to win something, So, but never mind.
Dave, in terms of, and I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on this. In terms of the Arsenal game, so we'll look at the next game ahead. Would there be any changes that you would make to the 11 based on what you saw at the weekend? Would there be any big changes, or would you keep it the same? Or
no, I would drop the cells. I think he's again a bit like Longstaff, lost his confidence, lost his way a bit. I still believe he's a good player because he was. I mean, certainly under Rafa, he was outstanding, and he's gone back. Was he that word we all use, Bruce? Possibly, but if I haven't get him back, fair enough. So I would change that, and I'm not sure what bring in. I mean, obviously, anybody else, I would be over the moon if Dummett was fit enough. I don't think he will be. He's talking about December, so that's a couple of 3 weeks away yet. I still believe, and I've said a few times that other people, that I still think he's one of our best defenders. He's not the best going forward. He's not the best cross the ball, but defensively, I believe he's one of our best. Whether after this long injury he'll have the pace, and thanks, Paul. I wonder whether he'll be the player he was. I certainly hope so. I would slightly shorter things around. I still think that if he's going to play Almiron, I would rather see him sitting just behind Wilson and keep Fraser and Miggy out on the wings, because I mean, on Saturday when they were doing that really good. I hope that Eddie Howe will give ASM a shake, because he's a wonderful player, but he always takes 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 more touches than he should do. But as you said earlier, Chris, his goal on Saturday was absolutely outstanding. That was not an easy thing to do, because the ball was coming across and dipping at pace, and he virtually hit it first time.
Yeah.
And as you rightly said, the keeper had absolutely no chance. I mean, I think if he trapped it and taken a couple of steps, I don't think the goal would have went in. But he hit it. I mean, back in the day, you would say he wellied it with his foot, and it just went flying. The keeper had no chance at all. That's what he's good at. But when he gets the ball and he goes on one of these mazy runs, it doesn't always come off, because he doesn't pass the ball when he should. Put that right, and we will have an absolutely amazing player. I mean, he's amazing anyway, but I think it'd be even more amazing if he changed that in his game. So I wouldn't make a lot of changes. I think I would probably start Fraser. I would probably drop the cells.
Who would take out to put Fraser in?
I can't remember who started. I was there on Saturday, wasn't I? I can't remember who started there on Saturday.
But it was.
I don't know. I mean, I just my big problem is I look at the team and go, yeah, that's fine. I mean, on Saturday when I saw the team news, and I thought, oh my God, he's got 5 at the back, but of course it wasn't. It was 3-4-4, and I thought, oh, that's right. I was quite happy with that. So, I don't think I would start Miggy just yet. Although it may well be that he was just tired after his international. I don't think he got back to Thursday night, did he? So he only trained on Friday. So he's probably not. He's had another week. But I think I would start him on the bench again.
Big Joe Linton was on the right wing, and then we had Jacob Murphy on right midfield. So I suppose if you were going to drop anyone, you'd probably drop Jacob Murphy. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think Eddie Howe has played Ryan Fraser at Bournemouth in like a right wing back position. Yeah. So it probably wouldn't be that.
So you could do it. See, I like Murphy. I think he's quick and he can cross the ball. But I think on Saturday against Arsenal, we're going to need pace, not only on the wings, but through the middle as well. And I think ASM and others can do that for us. Arsenal's got a reasonably good attacking forward line now, but the midfield and the defensive line's not as strong as it used to be. We saw that easily on Saturday when they got absolutely mullered by Liverpool. So I think we go at them, keep that possession, keep that front foot that we did on Saturday. I think we could get something out of the game, whether we win or not. It's London. We don't do very well in London, but I mean, I'd take a draw now. I really would.
Pete made a great point. Dave. Pete made a great point on Loaded Mag yesterday, and when he was talking about Ryan Fraser and saying like the difference in having a midfielder or a winger, if you like, who would literally pick the ball up and whip it in. And I think we saw that many times at the weekend, didn't we, Pete, when Fraser came on? And obviously we got the goal out of St. Maximin. And I think if you're going to play in that system and you've got Joe Linton just ahead of you, there will be opportunities where you can, feed it through to Joe Linton, or you literally, and I think you mentioned Beckham, didn't you, Pete? And I'm not gonna get too ahead of myself talking about Beckham and Fraser in the same breath, but in terms of that crossing ability and that, he's got that yard of pace where he can beat a man and then whip it. And I think sometimes with Jacob Murphy, I feel like sometimes he thinks a bit too much before he does something. I mean, we saw that, didn't we, with the opportunity he had. I'm trying to think who it was against when he went through 1-on-1 and he tried to chip the goalie and it just didn't come off. And I think sometimes if with certain players, if you give them too much time and they think about it, they tend to make the wrong decision. But when you've got players who literally just use natural ability, forward thinking, and just do something, that's when it happens. A bit like I say, Maximin, if you like.
Yeah, it's that subconscious thing they have. They just do it. They don't know. Half the time they don't know what they are doing it or why they do it because it's ingrained in their footballing brain. Which you're absolutely right.
Yeah, definitely. It's that deep line cross. I use the example of Keith Gillespie, who likes to get to the byline and whip it in. The old style winger. You had like the likes of Giggs and Kanchelskis. Keith Gillespie used to do it. Ginoli used to do it sometimes as well. But you had I used the example of Solano. Solano and Beckham had that ability of not having to get to the byline. They didn't need to, but it was that deep line cross into that area. Where people don't expect the ball to be put in at that point, and that's exactly what it was. It was a fantastic ball, pinpoint, and that's kind of what we need. But I was thinking, where could Fraser come in? And Chris is right, because he can play that right wing back. He's played there for Scotland quite a few times, so he knows how to play that position. But I do think, being away from home, we need to consider Manquillo playing there, because we still have someone like Joe Linton that can still get down there. He can still create problems. And actually, Manquillo is not a bad deliverer of the ball. He can get more into the box, and he likes to bomb forward too, although he's more defensively minded. So I don't think it would be a bad switch to play Manquillo in the game on Saturday. But I mean, the goalkeeper situation has to change. There's an argument. A centre back comes in. I mean, you made a great point, Dave, about bringing Lascelles out. I would argue the case of bringing someone like Clark out, because I thought Clark was equally as bad, if not worse. But it'd be interesting. I mean, the most important thing I think is that Eddie Howe's on the sidelines on Saturday. I think it will make a massive difference in being there.
He's there, yes. I don't know when he's due back. Could it Friday? Yeah, could it be?
They're hoping that he can be ready for Saturday.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what the rules are now. I mean, I think he's either got to get 2 negative tests or so many days. So it depends on when he was, tested, whether at the start or on that day or the day before. I don't know how it works. But if he gets 2 negative tests between now and the middle of the week, well, he could be back, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. At least he should hopefully get at least one good training day in before the game on Saturday.
Hopefully so.
I agree. But Dave, I'm gonna have to leave it there because I know we've got some
others on. Yeah, thank you for having me on.
No, absolute pleasure. It was a pleasure to meet you on Friday. It's a pleasure to have you on to share your views. I did get a chance to go over to the food bank. I put some money in myself just before doing that, but I think you'd already gone by then. So
I sit in the middle of the Nile, so I've got to leave sort of about 25 to 20 to 3 just to make sure I'm not disturbing the entire road to get in. So I tend to go about then. But anyway, there'll be another time. We'll see you. We'll see you again. No doubt. Yeah.
But you take care.
You as well. All the best.
Pleasure. You need one of these.
Thank you.
You take
Great
care.
having you on, Dave.
Yep. Bye, everybody. Thanks.
Take care, mate.
The legend that is Dave Harrison. Always great to have him on and share his views. And I think we could have carried on talking for another hour. I think with Dave, that's just how it was. I think I was in mid conversation with him on Friday about something Newcastle related, and then he had to go, and it was like, we were right in the thick of it, and you can just talk to him forever. He's such a great guy. Lovely
fella, isn't he? And so knowledgeable. I mean, he was talking about going the games then in the 70s. Like he must have seen the good, the bad, and the ugly, mustn't he? When it comes to Newcastle. Oh, seen a lot. But some worse times maybe than his, or you can argue Ashley's probably the worst, and certainly some better times. 100%. But just before we get our next guest on, just want to go through the sponsors very, very quickly. So I have to go and start with Spider VPN, or otherwise the chat will rip me a new one. So Spider VPN for all your internet security. They are the ones to trust. Massive support of NUFC Matters and continue to do so through the month of November. So massive thanks to everyone at Spider VPN. Keep showing your support as always. skipsandbins.com. So telephone 0800 2545 253 for all your email inquiries at skipsandbins.com, and go on their website www.skipsandbins.com for easy, contract-free and pay-as-you-go waste collection. So Bobby is the one to trust. We have L&G Family Funeral Directors. Please contact them if you need to at 0191 389 7245. The main man, John Justice Allen, qtechshop.co.uk, for all the makers of pool tables and snooker tables in Newcastle. And they also run the website for NUFCmatters.com. So please go and take a look at NUFCmatters.com as well. We have Jab Signature. They are the guys that produce the flyers. So thank you for their support as always. At jabsignature.co.uk. Give them a look. All their new range, their new clothing range is out there. Some fantastic gear. You'll see Steve always supporting Jab Signature, so don't be afraid to have a look and make a purchase. I certainly have for Christmas already.
We've got newcastlelegends.com. So hit the likes and subscribe if you haven't already. I know one or two in the chat have already supported that. Get that like, hit and subscribe to NUFC Matters and newcastlelegends.com. If you're not able to watch it on YouTube, you can also watch back on iTunes and Spotify. NUFC Matters is available as always. And this Friday, Steve Rafe and Newcastle Legends presents an evening with Pedro, the legend, Peter Beardsley. Friday, November 26th at 7 p.m. The Tyneside Irish Centre, Gallagate, Newcastle. Fantastic place. The service was spot on. The people were great. Really, really good to meet some people there in the Tyneside Irish Centre on Friday. So for all your tickets, www.newcastlelegends.com. And of course, it'd be rude not to if we didn't mention Loaded HQ. We're on the race to 2,000 subscribers. We are just growing and growing, and I cannot thank you on behalf of all the lads at Loaded for all the support that you guys give us in between Matters and Loaded. Massively appreciate all the support. More content coming, more surprises coming too in the weeks to come. So keep an eye out for Loaded HQ for all our shows. Coming with away days on Thursday with a couple of top Arsenal fans previewing the game for Saturday, and we'll be back on Friday for our flagship show, Loaded Mag. So keep an eye out for that one. Bobix is promoting Thursday the 9th of December. More football chat in aid of the West End Food Bank with Steve Rafe and Super Mac. Topical and possibly also some nostalgic NUFC talks. So get involved in that. Okay. And also looking ahead to next year, we've got Newcastle England legend Peter Beardsley's back again, 30th of January 2022. The Time Theatre and Opera House. Get involved in that also. Peter Beardsley is back again. Okay, and the NUFC fans foodbank.co.uk, the match day bucket. So looking ahead to all of the home games, throw your support in for NUFC fans foodbank.co.uk. Massively supported every single week. So please get involved and show your support. Okay, now the sponsors are done. We've got hopefully a very sober guest coming on now, because he certainly wasn't sober on Friday. I can tell you that for nothing. But absolute legend. Looking forward to hearing his thoughts. Here he is.
He wasn't sure if you were going to put him on.
You guys, it's good to see you guys alive and well and upright.
I thought I was bad. You were worse than me on Friday. Oh, great to see you though, Chris.
So great to see you.
Yeah,
what a great weekend. What a great time Friday, and seeing everyone in the chat that I got to meet was my pleasure. I wanted to sort of follow on from Alan and Dave and talk about how long you think it'll take to see Eddie Howe's preferred lineup and formation, because obviously we had the international break, so the only player that was on international duty who got in the lineup was Fabian Schär. So no Almiron, and then some other and then of course no other players. So I'm sort of I was sort of thinking that it may not even be against Arsenal that we see his like number one lineup for the squad we have, and I'm sort of one that I think looking ahead to I think we can't really look ahead to January and what we're going to do in January, because I'm sort of thinking even in January it may be a little more conservative than we're sort of hoping for. I think it's gonna be more of an evolution than a revolution in January. But up until then, of course, playing against Arsenal and Norwich, our next two matches going to only be 3 days apart. We play Arsenal on Saturday and then Norwich on Tuesday, so it's a quick turnaround. So you might even see a different lineup within those two matches. But of course, it goes without saying that we fully expect Dubravka to be in there. So that'll be the first change from what we saw against Brentford. I think he'll probably put Miguel Almiron in there in place of Murphy. I think if I could be wrong, but I think he was about to come on, and then they switched it. So he was fit and had the confidence of Jason Tyndall and Eddie Howe to be able to come straight on. So we almost saw him, and so I'm expecting to see him against Arsenal. And then I'm with you guys in terms of the back four. We've got to see. I don't want to see Clark in there, and we're probably not going to get rid of Jamal Sell, so he'll probably still be in there. But and then as far as the formation, obviously we started off in a 3-4-3 and then switched to what was it, a 4-3-1-2 or 3-4-1-2. We did like a bit of a I think Eddie Howe called it in on the side, went back in the tunnel and say it's time to change our formation. So I'm wondering whether you lads think we're going to see more of the same against Arsenal, or whether from Arsenal to Norwich we're really going to see what Eddie Howe thinks is the best lineup that we have with the lads that we have, and the best formation. So curious what you think in terms of how much further evolution we're going to see in the squad between now and, let's say, Norwich on next Tuesday.
Interesting question. Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, do you know what, Chris? You've raised a good point. It is interesting to see how things will develop. I mean, for me, I think we're going to stick with this 3-4-3. It's nice to see, and that was, like you say, even without Howe on the sidelines, that we can change it up. But I think predominantly we will start with that 3-4-3. I did think it was quite attacking what he did, in terms of the left midfield and the right midfield, because you could have easily, like we were discussing before, put in, a left back and a right back, in terms of he could have gone with Lewis and he could have gone with Manquillo, but he chose to stick with Murphy and Ritchie. Now, we were interested, weren't we, Pete? And we were talking about it pre-game, saying that, a lot of people would want Matt Ritchie in the starting 11. And I do agree with that. I do think there is a place in the team for Matt Ritchie. I just don't know whether left midfield or left wing back or left back is really the place for him. Me personally, I would like to see him on the right. I think he is a voice. I think he is someone who drives the team forward. And obviously Eddie Howe is a big fan of him. But I did find it interesting that he stuck with him on the left. Going forwards, I don't think he will stay on the left for very long, if I'm honest, especially once January comes. It could even be that, that is the position that we try and recruit for, because, and Pete mentioned this earlier, that there was quite a few problems when we had Clark at left centre back and we had Ritchie at left mid, and then we had Maxi at left wing. That left side, and you could clearly see that Brentford were thinking this is where we're going to get all our joy from. Especially the second Brentford goal. I think that was the one where the ball came in from that side, and then he came ghosting in at the back. Yeah, that is an issue. But no, I think this. I think we will see very much a similar formation for the Arsenal game and probably the Norwich game and the foreseeable games coming up as well. But I do think that there could be a change in personnel. I really want to see Dubravka in there. I would like to see Fede Fernandez back in there, but again, the legs might be an issue. If you do play Fernandez, I think he would probably have to come in for Lascelles.
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily like to play Fernandez left centre back because I do think he would be exposed. Maybe that's why he's gone with Clark, and obviously he hasn't got Dummett available. Unless, of course, you switched Shah to the left centre back and then maybe put Fede in right centre back when he's got someone a bit more mobile on the right, in whether it be Manquillo or Murphy. I just think he needs those legs, and I don't think Richie provides that, and that's the problem.
Do you think he will be encouraged by what he saw from Jamal Lewis on international duty, or he'll sort of be on the presumption that he hasn't really produced at Newcastle and he hasn't been given a chance? Will he be given a chance?
I think he'll have been encouraged. Yeah, I mean, you know, as I said at the start, Chris, you're talking 10 of 11 games 10 of 11 days of training. So there's a lot to work with. And don't forget, a couple of players were on international duty. I think Kraft was, Hendrick was, Dubravka was, Miggy was. So it could, you know, we could see Miggy come back in. Maybe that was one of the reasons why Miggy didn't play. I mean, I know he played Shah, but I don't think we've got that many options at centre back. So maybe he had no choice but to play Shah. But I think we will see changes made, and but I just hope for the sake of everyone, I just hope that the one big change I'm going to be looking out for is Dubravka. I think we need to bring him back in now. We can't keep talking about it because that first goal that should never have gone in. Never have gone in. It looked bad live. When I watched it back, it looked even worse.
Yeah.
When I spoke to Richie, I think it was a half time. Richie from Loaded Mag, by the way, not Matt Richie. When I spoke to Richie at half time on the concourse, he was saying, I think he'd had a better view of it than me, and he said, "There's no way he shouldn't have saved that." And then obviously I watched it back later on, and it was just it's not good enough. And unfortunately,
he jumps up and it goes like under him too. So it's like. Yeah. Wasn't just the first goal was horrendous, but the other, like at least two of the three were just terrible.
Yeah. That's a big no for me. I mean, he's done it far too many times now, and I think we need a bit of consistency. We need that voice at the back. We need Dubravka, the way he marshals the defence. I just feel like when a ball comes in over the top and Dubravka's in goal, not for 1 minute am I worried. When it's Darlow, I always think, oh, is he going to get it, or is he going to come out for it? Is he going to make the right decision? And I just don't want that anymore, especially now Dubravka's fit. Dubravka should have come in 2 or 3 games ago. As soon as he was fitting up for the bench, he should have been in the 11. But I think now,
last year, so the same thing we did last year. When Dubravka coming in.
I said on Saturday with my mate Lol, who I went to the game with. It was before he'd made the mistake for the goal, for Ivan Toney's goal, and I said to him, "There's just something about today where I just don't feel confident with Darlow in goal. He just didn't look right. He didn't look confident. I talked about it last night. There was at least 4 times where he was slow off his line, where he was slow to react, where his kicking was poor, where he just didn't look at the races. Like even just looking at him." He just didn't look right. Even in the second half when he was at the Leazes, so you could see a lot more of him. He didn't look right in himself. And there's been a lot of talk that obviously every time that Dubravka's come back from an injury and has been on the bench that, he's crumbled under the pressure. And I think that's what it is. I think he crumbles under the pressure and having to play in order to keep his place. And I just think, Dubravka is such a better goalkeeper. I don't think two or maybe even all 3 of those goals don't go in, and we win the game comfortably. So, I know that people are pointing the finger at the defence, and I've certainly pointed the finger at Kieran Clark, and I think he was the big reason for some of the goals going in. But ultimately, if Darlow doesn't make those chances, if he doesn't create those chances or gift them those chances, shall I say, we win the game anyway. So it makes a massive difference. And when you're going away to the Emirates Stadium, where we haven't got the best of results in previous past over the years, you need a goalkeeper to have a great game, and we need Dubravka in goal to have a great game, because it's very, very clear that Darlow is not going to. He's not going to play well. For me, we've got 4 goalkeepers in our squad right now. We've got Gillespie, Woodman, Darlow, and obviously Dubravka. For me, if I'm opening up a space in the window, I'm letting Darlow go.
Million percent.
I'm letting him go. I'm moving him on. You know, he signed a 5-year deal as a second choice goalkeeper. So, you know, that tells you the mentality of the guy. Whereas you've got someone like Freddie Woodman that, although didn't play that well at the beginning of the season, was knocking on the door saying, I want to be number one. I demand to be number one. I want a chance to play. And whether he gets that chance is another thing, but Darlow was quite happy to be number 2. And for me, I've always got question marks about that. I always had question marks about Steve Harper just accepting being number 2 and not asking the question. And Darlow comes in that mold, so I've got some issues with that.
He's
so
a passenger.
See him go. I'd be quite happy to see him go. But you know, in terms of answering your question about changes being made, the goalkeeping situation aside, I think Freddie Fernandez needs to come back in. I think Freddie Fernandez could be crucial playing on Saturday, because I think from the way we played our set pieces on Saturday was like a game changer for me. Our set pieces were so much better on Saturday. We caused problems, not just because Lascelles scored. We scored on the back of putting pressure on them. Now, if you look at Arsenal's defenders, or if you look at Arsenal's team in general, they're not great in the air. So I think a set piece is where we can actually get on the end of things and cause them problems. Lascelles, yes, defensively he's got problems, but you can already see in attacking areas, he could make a difference. Freddie Fernandez is good in attacking areas too. You know, you've already got the likes of Callum Wilson that we know can score from headed goals because he's scored a couple for us already. You know, we've got players. Joe Linton scored headers for us. But we've got big, tall, physical players that can actually, in set pieces, cause a lot of problems. So I think that's an area that we can exploit, and getting someone like Freddie Fernandez in on Saturday could actually help us in the team. We've got the ability, we've got the delivery. Richie, Shelby, when they know where to play it and how to play it, and clearly Eddie Howe's worked on that, I think that's an area we can exploit massively. And I just believe that we've got an opportunity to really do something. The Fraser point that you made, Chris, is a great point, because he had a fantastic assist.
Yeah.
You know, for Alan St-Maximin's goal. And to be fair, he could be quite easy knocking on the door to Eddie Howe saying, look at what I did when I came on. I should be playing. So there's a decision to be made there. Do I think those decisions will be made? I don't think so. I think there could be a change in defence. I think there'll be Shaw. I think Shaw and Lascelles will keep their place. I think Clark will be very, very lucky to keep his place. But I think Dubravka will come in. And I think that will be that. I think he'll keep Willett. Willett will play against his old club. He'll play for sure. I'd be shocked if he doesn't. But also, don't be surprised if the system changes completely.
Yeah.
Because this is what Eddie Howe does. Eddie Howe, from game to game, based on who we play against, can change a system to play against a certain team. We talked about the videos that we watched when he talked through his video classic of how he dismantled Chelsea with the likes of Hazard and Pedro and all the rest of those players, when he dismantled them and they beat them comfortably that night.
Yeah.
He talked about it openly, that he changed tactics, that he changed the way he played to stifle a top Chelsea side. Don't be surprised if the formation completely changes again and he puts a team out to stifle Arsenal and their attacking areas and try and pick them off with our attacking players. That's what a quality manager does. A quality manager has the ability to do that. We're used to having Bruce just playing the same way against every team and just hoping that it'll pick up a result. So
Manchester United's next manager, Steve Bruce.
Great point. And I know it's been talked about in the chat. You know, we can only hope, because nothing wouldn't be sweeter than a Steve Bruce Man United coming to Newcastle at St James's Park in December and is dismantling that team. And in front of the St James's crowd, there would be nothing sweeter, and I'm sure everyone would agree with that. So
I love it.
I am for that 100%. You know what? I think we should all back that as a fan base. On that should be our Twitter support right now. Is not being against each other, not fighting against each other, supporting each other, but all backing Steve Bruce to get in the job. They say that we give him stick. We're not. We're encouraging him now. Steve Bruce, Man United, get it hashtagged.
We agree with all his pundit friends. He's a good family man. You know,
he's such a lovely guy, Chris. You've got to give him it.
Legend, a nice guy.
Love it. But look, Chris, it's been an absolute pleasure. There's a few other guys waiting in the green room.
Possibly, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm 100% there. So just send me a message. We'll catch up. Have a couple of beers, and hopefully we'll see. Fingers crossed, 3 points on Saturday.
All right. Away the lads.
You take care.
Chris. Take care, mate.
Take care. See you.
Top man, as always, Chris. And
it was good seeing him, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. He was a little bit tipsy, but it was great to see him in there. I thought I was bad. He was worse, but he certainly does one of these things. Top man as always. And we're just gonna go straight through because we've got a few other guests waiting, and we're waiting patiently. Welcome in, Tony. How you doing, Tony?
Hi, Tony.
Hi, Pete. How are you?
Very good, mate. Very good. What do you want to talk to us about?
Yeah, well, I was at the game Saturday,
Man.
and when I saw the lineup, I thought, hang on, this looks a bit attacking for a change. Nice to have Shaw back in the team.
Yeah.
Disappointing was Dubravka not being in, considering he played for Slovakia. I know it's against Malta and probably didn't have nothing to do, but saying that, why couldn't he have just come back into the team? Darlow fills me with no confidence whatsoever, and he was shocking for that first goal. Absolutely shocking.
Yeah, absolutely.
And even for the second one, to be fair, because I mean, what was he actually trying to do? Was he trying to save it? You know,
did you remember as well, Tony? Sorry, because we haven't spoke about this, and I was talking to Rich about this. Did you see the one where the Brentford player was through and Darlow went to close him down, but like he hesitated, and then he had to gamble, and he gambled right and made the save. But if the Brentford player had done his job properly, they'd have scored. It was that hesitation, and you could sense the nerves in the crowd because everyone was screaming, "Close him, close him, close him!" And he just left it, and then he just like scrambled over and then like dived to one side, and the Brentford player hit it at him. But they should have scored off that as well.
Yeah, exactly, and also the factors as well. Even with like people behind me as well, no confidence when he was coming out for crosses, Darlow either.
No.
His handling was terrible. His kicking was terrible as well. I mean, there was
in the last couple of minutes. Remember that one, Tony?
Yeah, and it went straight out for a throw-in.
Jesus.
And I mean, watching Dubravka in the warm-up when all the players were having shots, you know, and I'm thinking, well, why can't he play? You know? But overall, I mean, I was pleased with the game. It was a good game. Maybe we should have won it had it not been for his mistake for the first goal. We could possibly have won it. Joe Linton unfortunately slipped right at the end.
Oh.
Why didn't he just hit it though?
He should have hit it. Touch it.
Because that goalkeeper for them was absolutely horrendous in the second half. The way he was wasting so much time. Why that ref did not book him is beyond me.
Yeah.
How was it only 4 minutes extra time? Was it 3 or 4 minutes?
Yeah, it was 4. It was 4.
That should have been 6 or 7 the amount of times they
did. And he kept pointing at his watch, didn't he? As if to go, I'm clocking it. He obviously didn't.
Couldn't believe it. But that Joe Linton chance, obviously we were high up in the leaders, and you know, you just thought he did everything right. He wasn't wrong by cutting the ball back. I mean, to be fair, as a professional footballer, with the way they take Maxi just kind of laced that ball off. He should have hit it first time. He could have, he should have. The keeper wasn't set. He'd have scored 100% if it had hit the target. No problems with that. But he was also not wrong by cutting it back, because he left the defender for dead. The defender was left on his arse, and all he had to do was put it in. But what I didn't understand is that the ball stopped dead. The ball was still. He fell down. He didn't make no effort to get back up as quickly as he could to try and get on the end of it, because it wasn't like their defender instantly got rid of the ball. There was a moment there where the ball was there and nobody was about. And I just thought he might have not got up and been able to have a shot, but he might have been able to get up and try and keep possession in the box.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand it, but then watching it back on some of the memes and some of the GIFs and the clips that have been going around, and Newcastle put something out, the Twitter handle put something out today. It was unlucky. I can't be mad at him, because he played so well on Saturday.
I mean, it's got to be the best game he's played. I mean, I've always been a big critic of him, and I was thinking he's not really Premier League standard, but Eddie Howe's obviously done something with him over the international period, and he's turned him into something a lot better than he has been.
100%.
And I mean, not just him. I thought when Fraser come on, he played actually quite well when he came on. And he has played a right wing back before, because he played in that 3-0 win over Chelsea as a right wing back. So he played well when he came on. But I mean, it was nice to have like 52% possession for a change rather than like 21% or 25%. We weren't playing negatively, we were playing with a bit of positivity. And considering Eddie Howe wasn't on the touchline because of COVID, I thought Jason Tyndall done all right on the touchline. He was always up and about.
Yeah.
And giving out instructions, a lot more than what Bruce even done, to be fair. And I hope he goes to Man United.
Yeah, too right. There was a nice switch, I thought, between the game, because Tyndall started as the main figurehead, and he was the guy that was kind of like barking the orders early on. But as the game went on, it kind of switched, and then Graham Jones was there, and he was kind of barking the orders. So there was a clear understanding of what the coaching staff wanted to do. Yeah. Now, and this goes back to the point that, Graham Jones got a lot of stick under Bruce, because he was kind of like the poster boy, the main coach of the lot. But you had the two Steves that were there that never went up and barked orders, never was the guy that was up there doing the job in terms of supporting the players. They were kind of hiding in the background. But it's nice to see that the two coaches were working in tandem and they were working together. That was quite positive to see. But look, it's only one performance, up in possession, up in attacking intent. It's not an easy game, obviously, going to Arsenal. But do you think, from what you've seen so far, that we've got a chance of staying up in the league this season, Tony?
I definitely think we have. I mean, the thing is, what you've got to remember is we're actually only 5 points behind Leeds. So technically, we beat Norwich and Burnley, and Leeds don't win. We're above Leeds.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And so where these people are saying, "Oh, we're going down," or some of our fans are saying, "We're not going to stay up." Well, to be honest with you, we're only 5 points behind. If we were, say, 10 or 12 points behind, then you think, well, okay, there's a bit of a mountain to climb. But 5 points isn't really... I mean, we could go to Arsenal on Saturday and get a point. That's it, basically. We could get a point down there. And if we got a point there, and say we pick up 6 points off Burnley and Norwich, there's 8 points out of them 4 games, which isn't a bad return, really.
No,
and that takes us out of the relegation zone.
Do you know what? You're absolutely right, Tony. And I think it is easy, isn't it, to look at that December fixture list, obviously, once we've gone through Burnley and Norwich, and to go, oh, God, we're not going to win a game. There will be the odd point there. We could even get the odd win.
Leicester City aren't playing well. So what's
they're not. They're not. And don't forget, in January, I mean, we saw it last season, didn't we, with Lingard for West Ham. If we bring in the right players, it can make a massive difference. It really can. But it's about accumulating as many points as we can between now and January. And then hopefully we've got some deals lined up and we start to see some changes, and we start to see, players that Eddie Howe has chosen, to come in. That would be a great bonus. But there's plenty of points to play for between now and January. And who's to say we can't get 12 points? I mean, 12 points would be amazing, wouldn't it? Because then that put us on 18 points. That'd be great. But it's not beyond the realms of possibility. We could get something against Arsenal, Norwich, and Burnley. You've got to be looking for 6 points.
Not only that, if you go back to like when we played Southampton, if we'd played game management properly, like we used to do when Shearer used to play for us, if we played game management and kept that ball, Southampton would never have got that penalty. We would have won that game.
Yeah.
Had we put our chances away against Watford, the amount of chances we had, like Murphy, Gale, if we played and put them chances away, that would have been another 2 points there. So that would be like 4 points better off now than we are now. But we didn't put them chances away, and we didn't keep Southampton out of sight either. So technically, that's why we're still in the situation. We haven't won a game yet. But under Howe, we are playing better, and we saw that on Saturday. And I think he will play a system on Saturday that will match Arsenal up.
Yeah. We've now got a coach, Tony, who is going to be studying the opposition and not just putting a team out and saying, good luck, lads, keep the effort up and whatever. There's going to be a proper game plan. There's going to be an idea, a tactic, if you like, of how we can beat them. And that's what's so promising. That's what's so exciting.
Even on the training ground, you see how he's involved, where Bruce used to walk around with his hands in his pockets, probably thinking about when he's going to go and get his next kebab. But but with how he got involved, and even when I think there was one point where there was Shelby was standing there, he went, "It's no good standing there. The ball won't come to you. You've got to get to the ball." Yeah. And I thought, you know what? It's about time we had a manager like that.
Hey, we've seen that, Tony. The most improved player at the weekend. I think Joe was one of the match, Joe Linton, but Shelby was the most improved for me.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, he was getting in for headers, which we've not seen for a long time, and he just played a lot better. And I think the whole team did. I mean, to be fair, Lascelles, he does need to come out the team. He is, apart from getting the goal, he's done nothing else all game, and scored an own goal as well. But I know a lot of people are saying like Richie's not really a defender, which he isn't. And we all know he's not a defender. His legs have gone on that side, but he still creates chances. He set up another assist at the weekend for Lascelles. So he still pops up with the odd good ball, but he's not a left back, unfortunately. I would rather have Lewis back in, if I'm honest. And he had a cracking game against Italy.
I didn't see that game, but I heard that.
Yeah, nobody expected Northern Ireland to draw with Italy and knock them into the playoffs, but
his attacking play was fantastic, and actually, he set up a golden chance for them to potentially win the game. And very unlucky not to. But you're right. We've got players there that have just been sitting there that we as a fan base have kind of discarded because they've just not been playing. But actually, there are players in there that we can kind of unearth. There's been talk about Elliot Anderson, for example, scored a hat-trick tonight in the under-21s. Who's to say that he can't come in under the guidance of Eddie Howe and perform well? You've got Ryan Fraser that we talked about, came on and made a fantastic assist. You've got Dwight Gale that's not been talked about. We discarded him as a fan base, but who's to say that Eddie Howe won't get a few goals out of him? There's players, Jamal Lewis you've talked about, Mankilio you've talked about as well. There are players there that we can try and develop, and that's before we even look to even sign players in January. And we will sign players. I think it's been made clear that we will. Again, we've been talked quite heavily about Tarkowski in the last couple of days, last 48 hours as a player that Eddie Howe really wants. And you put Tarkowski alongside any of our current centre backs. You put Tarkowski, Lascelles, and Shaw in that defence, and you maybe even then add another defender in, potentially Connor Cody, and you have Tarkowski, Connor Cody, and Fabian Shaw. That defence doesn't get breached in the same way that it currently has been. No. It has been this season. No. You're instantly improving that defensive line, and you're not just improving that defensive line, you're improving it with leaders that can lead the line and work together as a team. And so we're in a difficult position at the moment, but it can quite quickly change, and it can change sometimes overnight. And you know, I've always been of the mindset, if we get to January, if we can get to around January, or certainly that game where we go away to Southampton and we're around between 15 and 20 points, I think we're in a great position to stay in the league.
Yeah, definitely. And
Yeah,
I mean,
I
the
really
thing is, we've got the financial power to get players in.
Yeah.
I know they keep saying, "Oh well, Premier League clubs won't sell to us," but unfortunately, it's not down to the owners of the clubs; it's the agents running the clubs.
Yeah.
And you know, the thing is, if Tarkowski, we can get him say for about 5-6 million because his contract's up in June, July, then that's a hell of a signing. And then not only that, Cody, he would be a good sign if you got him for 20 million. That's a steal because he's an England international as well. You know, so there's two there straight away. And like you say, it's centre back who would improve our squad immensely. I know that people have put like Nathan Naki in. I'm not so sure about him, to be fair. I know he played well for Bournemouth and he hasn't really had much of a chance at City. And there is talk today about Zinchenko as well from Man City, left back.
Well, he's a left wing back. I've personally not read that myself, but he's a left wing back, and he can play that role very, very well. He's not for me. He's not a left back. He's not a left winger. Zinchenko is a left back, and
he's a genuine one.
He can play well in that position. So I've not personally seen that, but it wouldn't surprise me if that's a kind of move. We've also forgotten Zetra Williams. Zetra Williams is currently, you know, he's not playing any football. Okay, so fitness is an issue, but it'd be available at a massively knocked down price or possibly in a free. So there's an opportunity for someone who is a left wing back in Zetra Williams to come in, and we already know, if you've been on Instagram, that he's been in Newcastle recently with Alan St-Maximin, and he's been, you know, he's still got that really close relationship with him. So you've got options there, and you know, January is going to be a really interesting month for us.
We definitely need another striker in though, because if we lose Wilson, you know, we've got really nobody else.
And interestingly, and I think this would be a monster partnership. We've been linked with Divock Origi on loan today. And for me, I think he's a terrific player.
Yeah, he is.
You know, I think he's a player that could really play well in this in a frontline three. He's a guy that can play off the right hand side or through the middle. And I think if we could get someone like that in, you know, you're adding goals, but you're also adding quality, like distinctively better quality than what we currently have. And I think him and Wilson and St-Maximin could tear things up as a frontline three, 100%. So, look,
and also we're in talks with Nicholas Sula as well, aren't we? So that's another one.
He'd be a monster if we got him.
He would be, wouldn't he? Yeah.
It's going to be interesting because we've been heavily linked with quite a few players, but it's going to be interesting to see where we actually go with this and who we sign. I think, you know, I for one, and I know, you know, Chris feels the same. We're really excited for January.
I can't wait for January because it's going to be lovely. Not thinking we're going to wait till the end of January and let's see who we'll get in on loan. It could be. It's like a lucky dip, and they just put their hand in the bag and say, "Oh, we'll have that one."
Yeah, I think there'll be some signings made very early in January if they haven't already been lined up. I think they will be, and you know, we're all very thankful that we haven't got Lee Charlie doing the negotiations anymore.
Oh yeah, thank God for that. And I like what Ryan Taylor said as well. I hope he was sacked over the phone as well.
Yeah,
after what he done to them. Because I mean, it was just disgusting what he done to Ryan Taylor and Jonas Gutierrez.
Yeah,
and after Jonas coming through cancer as well, it was just disgusting the way he was treated.
Unforgivable.
I mean,
that shows you the ownership, though, Tony. That was the ownership that we were under. No TLC whatsoever. They weren't bothered, didn't care, and you're not going to see that from these new owners at all. That just will not happen.
I mean, obviously, I live in Suffolk, so I mean, I'm originally from Newcastle. I've lived down here 9 years now. But I mean, I said to a guy at work today, and he said to me, he says, "Oh, you was always blame Mike Ashley." And I said, "Well, actually, he has done a lot of bad for the club." And I says, "But because you're not from Newcastle and you're not connected with it, and you're not a supporter of the club, you don't understand what goes on." I says, "But you just did not put money in that club whatsoever." I says, "That, you know, that ground needs a lot of TLC." as I saw on Saturday.
Yeah.
That was the first time I've been to a game since 2013, since Pardew.
Yeah.
Because after watching in 2013, I thought, I'm not going back. I can't watch this.
Yeah.
And why should I go back when we're not getting decent players into the club and we just keep selling good players? You know,
I agree.
And it was just nice to go back.
Definitely.
Yeah,
I was out for the season ticket, nice sitting the Leazer's end, you know, right at the front. So yeah.
I'm a bit like you actually, Tony. I've not been to St James's for a long time. In fact, well, the last time I went was in 2018 for me stag do. So I went with my mates, and funnily enough, after 20 minutes, we were playing Leicester and we got beat 2-0. And after 20 minutes, I think there was about 9 of us there, and 6 of my mates said, "Listen, I'm sorry, Chris, we're going on the concourse and watching it from there." And they were just drinking because it was that bad. Like literally at one point, we cheered a throwing. That's how bad it was. I obviously stayed and watched it. I didn't want to stand on the concourse drinking, but it was an uncomfortable watch, and it was really poor. And I said to myself from that moment, I don't want to go back to St James's while Ashley's there. I just didn't want to. So I've been doing away days, because you kind of, you forget all about Ashley there because it's just all about the, you're not putting any money in his pocket, so to speak. You're just on your ways, you're having a good time, great bunch of lads around you, all singing and cheering. But yeah, it was amazing, to be back at St James's at the weekend.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I mean it's but like I say, you can see how much the ground needs a lot doing to it, but these new owners will do it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I like,
but I mean, it takes time, doesn't it?
Yeah, like she says, Amanda, we need to get rid of Sports Direct sign because you can't take a photo anywhere without a Sports Direct sign in it. No. And it's true, you can't.
No.
Because everywhere you look, there is signs. So hopefully, Ashley will back down and let her get her own sponsors in.
Well, I think we're just waiting to see what the Premier League come up with the agreement with the 19 clubs with the sponsors. But I think if that gets agreed and we're okay, I think it'll be a case of our deals with some sponsorships in Saudi Arabia will get sorted quite quickly. But Tony, it's been an absolute pleasure. I know we've got a couple of people still waiting. So I really appreciate you coming on. Hopefully you'll come back again soon.
I will do
next week, and hopefully we can talk about potentially 3 points in the bag.
Well, I normally play darts on a Monday night, but we haven't got a game tonight, so that's why I'm on tonight.
I really appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah.
Hopefully the darts are cancelled next week. You can come on next week as well.
Yeah, you never know. Yeah, depending on COVID. Yeah, you just never know.
Definitely. You take care, Tony.
Cheers, Tony. All the best, mate.
Great to hear from Tony. I know he's been on before.
Yes.
Great to hear his points. And again, he's made some good points, particularly about the signs as well. It should be coming up very soon, whether that agreement is going to stick with the Premier League with regard to the signs and the sponsorships. And hopefully we'll be able to get some new sponsorships in and be able to move forward.
Fingers crossed.
Definitely. But look, I'm going to get straight onto it because this guy, it was a pleasure to meet him on Friday. Great to chat to him. Could have carried on speaking to him for another few hours, but I want to hear his points with regards to the weekend's game. Let's bring him on. How are you, Jeff?
It's me.
How you doing, Jeff?
Hey, it was great meeting you guys. Fantastic. I hope Rupert got his coat back.
Who knows? Who knows?
Well, should we start with the game then? I'll start at the back because I want to take slight issue with you about Clark, because I noticed all 3 of them tried to bring the ball out, and Lascelles sort of comes trundling out and then has this sort of a bramble moment and knocks it sideways and scuttles back again. Shah goes forward with quite some purpose, doesn't he? You think, oh, he might do something interesting, and he does. He's got something up there. Clark, well, he tends to come scuttling forward and then does some sort of long ball and heads up towards the area. I thought, oh, they're all being very enterprising, because we can't rely on the goalkeeper to get it up there, and otherwise it's just give it to John Joe, And if we start doing that all the time, they'll just mark him out of the game. So we've got to have that variety. And as what went wrong, it's our wing backs. Yes, can't defend, as Steve Bruce helpfully pointed out to all the opposition very earlier in the season. Well, they can't defend, can they?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's another thing with Eddie Howe. I'm not going to talk about what our plans are, right? And it's the same thing with the transfers. I don't expect to hear about it until they're transferred. That would be really professional, wouldn't it? Just you go on Newcastle NUFC.com, just check it's real, and there they are. They've signed somebody. Because I don't want to know what's going on in the dressing room. That's a bad sign. And I don't want to know what's going on in the transfer market. Again, that's a bad sign. So we just should not dive into this horrible clickbait that's going to be out there, because we're going to be linked with everybody, and it's not going to be very good. What else? Joe Linton was good. Again, manager praises Joe Linton and Shelvey. What a technical player Joe Linton is. Bloody hell, he turns out to be quite a technical player. Bambi on ice, which was a bit of a shame. But, what else did I think of? Willock had made an effort with his hair, I thought.
Yeah, hasn't he? Yeah. He had some braids going on.
Yeah. I thought that was a positive move. Longstaff going for the moustache. Very noble of him. That's about the best thing he did. And I was quite impressed with the tango hairband as well. I wonder who got that after he scored. Yes, that disappeared quite rapidly.
I like that. Yeah,
I thought that was quite.
Where's the hairband? That's what needs to be out there.
Yeah, that was very bold, I thought. And anyway, it worked. He scored. I'm still enjoying the ripples going out through the results. I think you're right. It's there's all sorts of odd things going on. We could beat Arsenal. I don't see why we shouldn't be able to. Mm-hmm. Just because if you've got players who've got a 1 in 3 chance of getting the ball into the net in a decent thing, the more chances they get to put the ball in, the more chances you've got of scoring off it. So, it's a numbers game. And, whatever it was, we had 23 shots, was it? Something daft like that? Yeah. Bloody hell. Well, it's more entertainment than we've had all season. It was a lot of goalmouth action. It was fantastic. And I'm not downhearted, because these people are not going to sell the club. That's a big deal. We've been sat here thinking, is he going to sell? They're not going to sell the club ever. You can't. Under what circumstances these guys going to sell out? So they're here for the long term. And it's interesting to see the negative wave coming in already. Have you spotted that? We're going down. No one will want to come to the club. We can't be able to buy anybody. The Premiership won't let us get any sponsorship. No one will sell it. Oh, just calm down, everybody. We get quite consistently trolled as it is, but I'm going to remain positive, right? If I can watch football like that every week, why not? At least we had a chance. If it looked like we could win a game.
Yeah.
So I'm really quite happy. And Bruce for Man U. That's what we want. Yeah.
Yeah. Totally.
I was putting that out on Twitter as soon as I heard he'd gone. But Manchester United. I don't rate Manchester United anymore. I think they're in a terminal decline. Well, not terminal, but they're in a decline. They're more highly geared than an F1 racer. They've got, such a lot of, they've gone from being the richest clubs in the world to one of the most indebted.
Yeah.
And I don't think they will ever get that top status back again. They've lost it, right? Until they get a different ownership and a different financial model, I don't think they're going to be able to, they can compete, but I don't think they're going to be the top club that they used to be.
They've got a lot of players, Jeff, who are on a lot of money. And they can't necessarily get rid of them. I mean, even the likes of Jesse Lingard, who we've been linked with, he's on. I think Mourinho gave him a 150 grand a week contract.
Yeah,
They've got so many players. Donny van de Beek, he's going to be on a lot of money. There's all different players who are on astronomical wages, and they're going to struggle to get rid of them. They really are. You need an overhaul.
Yeah, well, they need an overhaul, but they've gone down that route of sacking managers. Yep. Bringing a young guy and say, well, we'll build with him. Oh, God, no, we might make a mistake. He goes out. and it's difficult to see who they're going to bring in. Actually, I mean, there's no obvious choice. I think bringing in the special one was a bad move in the first place. I think that's probably where they started going wrong. But it's all going to be quite exciting, I think, for the rest of the season. And I don't care if we go down, quite honestly. I'd rather we didn't, but I don't think we will. I can't see any good reason for it.
I don't think so. I don't think we'll go down. I think we'll pick up results. I think, in order to stay up, we're going to have to pick up results against teams that we're not expected to pick them up. But I think we've got a manager that knows how to do that. I think we're underestimating the type of player that we've already got at the club. We've already seen improvements from the likes of Shelvey, Ryan Fraser, Joe Linton. Players will get better. I'm not just talking about those three. I'm talking about other players will get better. Our better players, I think, will get better as well, playing in a different way. And that's not even including who we're going to sign in January. So I think it's going to be a positive one. And I think we'll start picking up results. And hopefully we can get something at the Emirates on Saturday as a starting point. But it's a work in progress. We need the manager in the dugout, so hopefully that happens on Saturday as well, and then we move forward to that. But I'm confident. I'm confident in the lads. I'm confident in the manager and the coaching staff to get us where we need to be.
Yeah. When I saw Tyndall was in the dugout, I would think, they've gone with my rugby plan. But
Lad.
Yeah. Well, if you pick them on height, I've got height on the spreadsheet now, so I can arrange them by height, which I think is a quite an interesting way, because we're not a very tall team, actually, strangely enough.
No, we're not.
No, I mean Darlow at 190 is the biggest we've got. Clark's not very big. Yeah, so you were saying about heading the ball in Arsenal, but we're not exactly. You compare us to people like Dunk and things. Our guys don't look that big.
But compared to Arsenal are a lot of physically big side, and going into Saturday, I do think that from set pieces and whipping balls into the box, for as good as a shot stopper that their goalkeeper is, and he's performing miracles at the moment. Again against Liverpool on Saturday, but with Ramsdale, he doesn't come out and command the area. So we've got an opportunity to really put them under pressure, get balls into the box. We've got the guys that can put the delivery in, and I think we can get goals from set pieces. I really do, and I think we can maximise our opportunities that way. So it'll be interesting in how it goes. But
I'm going to say one last point. Have you ever seen a score from a short corner?
Yeah, I have actually.
All right, okay. It always seems like
we had
somebody's
a couple,
not read the script when we do a short corner.
Yeah, we had a couple away at West Ham where we did a short corner with Zetra Williams. I think it might be Matt Ritchie and Zetra Williams. A short corner. He kind of cuts it dead, whips the ball into the box, and I think Fede Fernandez gets on the head of one. I think Kieran Clark gets on the head of another. I think we do it again at home against West Brom, and Kieran Clark gets the winner off the back of that. So we have, a couple of years ago now, but we have done well on the short corners. Sorry if that's ruined it for you.
Yeah.
Talking of short corners, Jeff, it's a really interesting point you make, because I was sat in the lower Leazes end, and I was right by the corner flag, and I was surprised. I think it was Shelvey taking the corner, and him and St. Maxim was asking him for it.
Yeah.
But I was surprised because there was Brentford players there, and I saw Shelvey look at St. Maximin as if to go, "Do you want it?" And they agreed amongst themselves, and I thought, "Oh, this is going to be like a dummy play," and then he just give him it. And I thought, well, if I could see that you were going to do that, then surely the Brentford player must have seen it. It was weird. I thought it was going to be some kind of, trying to fool him. But Shelvey clearly looked at him and went, "Do you want it?" And St. Maximin was like, yeah. And then they waited a few seconds, and I was thinking, he's going to whip it in. And then he just give it to him.
Telegraphing a short corner.
Yeah.
Got so much joy from it as well. We would have just been better putting it in the box.
Oh, man,
putting it in the mixer. But
the corners were better. They were.
They were better.
Genuinely, they weren't bouncing off the first defender for a change or
God.
disappearing over the back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm really quite positive. I mean, what more can you want? Well, apart from a win, obviously. But at least we're in their half of the field a lot of the time, which is fantastic.
That's what I'm going to finish on asking you. Do you think we'll win on Saturday or get a point?
Yeah, I do. I think we can do Arsenal. Yeah, I don't think there'll be because, as you were saying earlier, they don't know what we're going to do.
No.
There was a time it was fairly simple. We were going to sit in our half and defend at 7 at the back, and you were going to go down the wings and put a ball in, and that would be it. But no, I think we can give them some trouble. Yeah, as you say, we might be able to rough them up a bit. Yeah, it'll be interesting anyway. They're so it's fantastic when they lose Arsenal. They get so unhappy. They do. It's tragic. It's tragic, isn't it? Yeah, nobody loses quite like Arsenal fans. Yes. Up the Gooners. Yeah.
Quality. Jeff, it's been a pleasure as always. It was
a pleasure to meet you as well.
Yeah,
definitely great to chat to you on Friday night, and always a pleasure for you to come on and have a chat with us. Hopefully you'll join us next week where we're hopefully celebrating 3 points.
Yeah, and looking forward to another 3 points. Yeah,
definitely. But you have to go with one of these before you leave. Always hit the back of the net with your comments and your thoughts. And like I say, you take care. Speak to you next week.
Cheers.
Cheers, Jeff.
Cheers.
Top man. Love Jeff. Absolute legend.
Yeah, lovely guy. We met him, didn't we, on the Friday? He was a lovely fella.
Great to speak to him. Speak to him all day. He's just a really genuine, nice guy, and knows his stuff about the club as well. Look forward to him coming back on again. But we've got our final guest. He's been so patient tonight, and I really appreciate him taking the time to wait for us. So we'll get him in now. Welcome, David. How you doing?
Hi, David.
Yeah, man.
Very, very good. Thank you for being patient and waiting to come on.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about Newcastle United at the moment?
My thoughts was like, why is Darlow playing? Why is Dubravka sitting on the bench? If he's fit enough to be on that bench and he's wearing that number 1 shirt, he's fit enough to be in between them sticks.
Absolutely.
I agree.
That's my only downfall with Newcastle is we're playing our second choice goalkeeper over our first choice.
Yeah. We had the same spell last season, didn't we, David? Under Bruce, when obviously Dubravka was injured, and then we kept Darlow in. Darlow did well, not knocking him last season. He had a run of games, but I think a lot of fans wanted Dubravka back in, and it was delayed, and then it come to the point, which I think we're at that point now, where it's like, right, the decision's going to have to be made. We're gonna have to put Dubravka back in because we're really missing him, we really are.
And then Lascelles, why is Lascelles playing at the back? And I know he's the captain, but surely God, that captaincy can get stripped when a new manager comes in. He can say, well, yeah, I don't think you're captaincy. I don't think you're a leader of this team, so you can give it to a different player.
Who would you give it to, David?
Who would I give it to?
At this moment, yeah, out of what we've got at the moment, who would be your choice for captain? And I'm saying that I absolutely agree with what you're saying. Like I Pete, we've said this many a time on Loads, haven't we? We need a new captain. But let's say you were to take it off Lascelles tomorrow, who would you give it to out of the existing squad at this moment?
I'm in between 2 players, either Hayden or Fabian Shaw. I think Fabian Shaw could be a leader. You know, he can play. He can come out from the back with the ball. He could be a leader if he's just shown how to be.
Yeah.
You know, he's done it for Switzerland.
Yeah.
He's been the captain for Switzerland before, so why can he not be a captain for us?
Yeah. No, I think it's a really good point. What are your thoughts, Pete?
Yeah, it's a great point. I think Hayden could be a good captain. I think, and it's not always the best situation of having a forward guy being a captain, but I think Callum Wilson could be a captain.
Yeah.
I think Shaw could be a captain. You've got Fernandez. You've even got Dubravka as a goalkeeper being a captain. You've got Hugo Lloris as the captain at Tottenham. There's no reason why a goalkeeper can't be a captain at Newcastle. So there are options there. I mean, I've made the point before. I think the reason why he's playing at the moment is because he's a captain. But I honestly believe that by the start of next season, we'll have a different captain. Whether he gives it up, or whether he's sold, or whether Eddie Howe gives it to somebody else, whether it's an incoming player that's got more leadership abilities. But I do believe that by the end of next season, by the start of next season, we'll have a new captain. I don't know who that be, but I think I genuinely believe we will.
I would bring Conor Cody in and give it to him. He's shown that he's a leader. He's a leader at Wolves. He's the one that makes Wolves tick.
Yeah.
And you take Conor Cody out of the Wolves team, and they've got nothing.
Yeah, they miss him, don't they?
Definitely, I would agree, 100%.
But when he was injured last season, they took a really good hit when he was injured. But soon as he come back into the starting lineup, they started firing on all three cylinders again.
Yeah. I have to agree with it. We've got Tarkowski, who's another leader. He's not the captain at Burnley, Ben Mee is, but he has been captain before. He is a quality guy that knows how to lead the line. He'd be a great option as well. And there's potential for whoever else could potentially come in that could be a leader and a potential captain. And I actually think that's who Eddie Howe's looking for captain material type players to come in and do a job. So it's going to be an interesting one, but it's really, 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 really good points that you've made, David. Is there anything else you want to make before we wrap up? Any other comments?
Just want to wish Eddie Howe to get better soon and get back onto the sidelines. It's not easy when your manager's sitting in a hotel with COVID.
Definitely. I think all the Newcastle fan base agree with that, and wish Eddie Howe the best. There's talk that potentially he could be available to be in the dugouts on Saturday. I hope that's the case, because we need him back as soon as possible, back on the training ground with the players, and certainly back in the dugout or in the dugout for the game on Saturday, because we need all the support we can get. And if we've got our manager barking orders, it will raise those players by 10-15%. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's what they were missing on Saturday. I think they were missing the manager. That the extra 10% wasn't there.
Yeah, I think we could have won with him in the dugout.
Yeah.
I thought that would have boosted them with him not being there. I thought, we'll play for him, give him something to cheer about and give him something to cheer up about.
Yeah,
but it didn't happen. But I still don't think we're going to go down. These fans who think we're going to go down, I don't think. I think we're safe.
I think we will be. Chris, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree with David, and I'm gonna remain positive. I think we will have enough to stay up. I mean, someone mentioned before, 30 points will take us to 36. It could even be this season that we don't need 36. I do think that a lot of teams are gonna start to kind of go on a bad run. I believe we've had our bad run, and hopefully that will come to an end. Yeah, Man U for Bruce. Yeah. Oh, I'd love that. Honestly, David, I'd love it if that happened. I'd just love it.
As soon as I heard that news, I put it out on Twitter. #Bruce in.
Bruce in.
Honestly, everyone says he's a great man. And we hounded him out in Newcastle. But the game he didn't need police support when he was at Newcastle, but he needed it when he was at Sunderland. We want the ones that hide cabbages in them.
Very true. Very
It's
true.
right, isn't it?
But
It's right.
we get called the bad ones.
It's long,
It's
isn't it?
typical. It's easy to point the finger at us because we're the unfashionable ones at the moment. So
For now.
yeah, for now, great point. It is what it is.
I'm hoping to get back to St James's Park as well as soon as my anxiety and my depression gets back to normal. You know, because I have been hit with trolls this week. I got a threatening letter from my door last Friday, and that knocked us back. So
I'm sorry to hear that, David.
Yeah, very sorry to hear that.
I'm getting there, but surely.
Yeah.
Well, fingers crossed. You know, we're pulling for you, and we appreciate you coming on and sharing your opinions. Because this is what we want. We want Newcastle fans just like us to come on and share their opinions about the club and how people see us moving forward.
It's also nice to see the fan base as like a family again and not against each other.
Yeah,
definitely,
absolutely. And do you know what? I think that will just grow and grow, David. I think it will just get better and better. I think, you know, we will all start getting on sides when we start getting our new signings, when the football's improving, which we've already seen at the weekend. It is slowly improving, and hopefully we continue to build on that. But on a personal point of view, David, you know, I hope you're okay. And next time we're up in Newcastle, I have to give you the shout, mate, and we'll go for a pint or something. But you take care. It's been great having you on, and thank you very much for coming on. Hopefully we see you again.
Yeah, I'll probably be back on next week after we've won Arsenal.
3 points.
That was good. Top man.
I've always said that Joe Willock will score the winner in the 98th minute. And we'll start singing "He's One of Our Own."
That would be a great shout. And
that would be, wouldn't it?
I'd be all for that, 100%, David, 100%. So I'm going to keep that in mind for Saturday's game. But you take care. Take care of yourself, and we'll speak to you next week, mate. Okay.
Thank you.
Top man.
Cheers, mate.
Top man, David. Great points as always. Definitely gets one of these.
Getting a lot of love in the chat, David.
Definitely, and rightly so. Loads of guests tonight. We've definitely overrun 100%. just a tiny bit.
Just a bit.
But everyone came on and made some great points, and this is why we love doing the fans forum. So
it's nice. It's nice talking to all different people, isn't it, Pete? And you know, the more fans we get on, the better. And you know, I'd encourage anyone watching this, you know, please dial in next week and come on and have your say, because we enjoy listening to it, don't we? I mean, we could do a 10-hour show, really, Pete, couldn't we? Because I just talk Newcastle all the time.
Definitely, it's what we love to do. It's why we love doing what we're doing, and to talk to guests like we have tonight. So, yeah, absolutely spot on. Thank you to everyone in the chat. It's always a pleasure to hear everyone's thoughts and views on Newcastle, and it helps us, with our discussions. And you guys raise some great points as well, which we elaborate on. So, massive thanks. We're going to end the show there. Fingers crossed for 3 points this weekend, and we will be back on Monday to talk more Newcastle, because no week is ever a dull week being a Newcastle fan. So massive thanks to you all. Chris, a pleasure as always. Absolute top man. Pete. And we will see everyone next week. You guys take care.
Bye.
Critics attack. It feels like I've been talking to myself again.